off the bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Now, David, we already set up that he was just laying around. He was supposed to be out there at the war, but he was just laying around. So why did David walk upon the roof? I mean, does that make sense? He's just that bored. It's kind of like a TV. You know, David went out on the roof to see what he could see. He didn't. I mean, he's a king, so he's probably got the highest house. You know, he's got the tallest thing, so he went out to see the view, or to see what he could see. And when he seen Bathsheba, and I'm going to keep this G-rated because we got babies in here, but he seen Bathsheba, seen her washing herself. And David could immediately, that's not a sin. Hold on now, I'm going to tell you something, that's not a sin. To see something that you didn't know was there is not a sin. You can't help but to see things. But David thought that she was very beautiful, and very beautiful to look upon. And that makes it different, because this lady was married. Now, David, he inquired about it. We see that, I believe it's in verse 3. He inquired about it. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, "Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?" And David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. He knew she was married. He knew she was married. A lot of people, you know, they put a whole lot of blame on Bathsheba, and I'm fixing to. But Bathsheba, could you imagine the pressure that was on Bathsheba? If she didn't go in there, she surely was going to get killed. They probably took her head right off, no problem. You know, wouldn't even thought twice about it. Imagine the pressure that was on her. But David was king, and David could have any woman that he wanted. He could have any woman. Why did he have to go and get into a marriage situation? And you know, and this is so true for us men. You know, it's important that, you know, when I said it was like TV, you know, a lot of times we go find something that we can look at, or we go looking. You know, you ever up late at night with that TV controller in your hand? You ever up late at night, turning the channels, hoping to see something, waiting to see something? Oh, I know it's here. I know it's here. I know us. I know us well enough. You're sitting up praying that the controller doesn't lose its battery life. Because if somebody was to walk in and see what you're seeing, it would be devastation. Think about it. Your kids walk in and see what you're looking at, Daddy, Mom. What would that do to them? What would that do to them? So David just went out on this roof to see what he could see. I bet David been on that roof before. I bet it was a place that David probably went quite often at times when he wasn't doing anything. You've been in that situation? You find something that you normally get, when you get bored, you find something that you normally go back to quite often? I must be stepping on some toes because I haven't had an amen yet. What is it when you get lonely and there ain't nothing that you can do? There's nothing entertaining, there's nothing going on. What do you reach for? If it's not the Bible, then it's probably something wrong. And I'm not saying it's always wrong. I'm not saying that. What do you reach for? What do you look at? When you just happen to be up 2 in the morning, it happens to everybody, and you're turning through the TV. Did I see what I just seen? Back up. Yeah, I did. Well, I'm not perfect. I've seen the things too. That's something that I struggle with. But God has delivered me from it, amen? It's something that I struggle with, and I know that it's more men than it is women that struggle with these things, but God can deliver you. He can take you out of that situation. I can remember a time when I struggled to look at women. I did. I mean, it's just the honest truth. But I can also remember a time learning how not to. you know, I couldn't help what I seen the first time, but I can remember triumphing. I say triumphing or winning the fight against the enemy. To say, hey man, look again, look again, look again. Like, I ain't done it. Remember that Satan is always there. He's always ready to accuse you. And let me also say this about the first look. Let me tell you, if you're looking too long, that's the first sin too. Don't be looking too long. Get your head out of there. Because what your eyes see goes into your heart, amen? So you need to control yourself. You need to not be out there on the roof when you really ain't got nothing to do. You need to find the Bible and sit down and read the Bible if you don't have anything to do. I didn't come to sugarcoat it. You know, and I know these things are relevant. I didn't come to sugarcoat it, but I come to really just to punch you in the forehead and tell you to stop sinning. Stop sinning. If you want the things of God, stop sinning. So let's say you say, Brother Josh, that's easy for you to say. I know it's easy for you to say, stop sinning. Take part in it. Say, I'm going to go out today and I'm not going to sin today. I'm going to strive to not sin. You can do it. You can make it through a day without sinning. You might not know if you offended somebody, and Lord help you if you did. But you can go into today, the rest of the day. You start with half a day. I'm not going to sin for half a day. Amen. I'm not going to sin. Stop sinning. Stop putting yourself in them situations. David put himself in that situation. Are you putting yourself in situations where sin becomes easy? Are you putting yourself in a place where sin becomes easy? Just stay out of it. Don't put yourself in a place where you know that you're going to see something. I've done it. Hey, amen, I've done it. I know I've done it. I put myself in a place where I can say, hey, I might just see something here. And when I see it, I say, yep, I was right. And we'll be happy about it. Don't put yourself in that position. If you can't handle a computer in your room, don't put a computer in your room. If you can't handle a TV in your room, don't put a TV in your room. If you can't handle flicking the channels on the TV, break your remote, or you would have to walk up there and hit the button with your finger. That way you can't be tempted. Can you see yourself sitting there on the couch flicking the channels, and you didn't have a remote, you had to run up there and hit it real quick? Well, you're caught, buddy. You're caught. Amen. We're going to look at, we're going to keep going. And David laid with her, you know, and she became pregnant. She was with child. And, you know, and David having to think about these things, and I believe it's between verses 5 and 6, and David, he had some wheels going in his head. So on verses 5, get to where I'm supposed to be. 2 Samuel chapter 11, we're going to look at verses 6 through 13. David, wheels got to turning. He said, well, I got this lady pregnant. I got to cover my sin or the nation's going to know it. I got to cover this up or the nation's going to know it. So I got an idea. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to tell Joab to go get Uriah and tell him, come on home and tell me what's going on in the war. You know, I'm just kind of curious. I want to know. And when Uriah gets back, you know what I'm going to tell him? I'm going to tell him, you know, I'm going to question him real hard. What's going on in the war? And he's going to tell me. And I'm going to say, come on down to your house. Go on down there and, you know, take a break, so to speak. David was hoping and praying that he would go down there and lay with Bathsheba. But Uriah was a man that loved his nation and loved the brothers around him. He said, should I go down to my wife, my brother Nathan, my brother is out there fighting. They're out there fighting and dying. Should I go down to my wife? I'm going to tell you something. If I came back from war, I'm going to go see my wife. But this man had a love for Israel. He had a love for his nation. Not only that, he loved his king. He loved David.